Imagine this for a second. You're maybe dealing with that huge weight of student loans, or maybe just feeling that constant financial pressure, right? Trying to stay afloat. You're really looking for something, some kind of breakthrough, just a bit of breathing room from all that anxiety. And then out of the blue, someone you really trust, family, maybe a close friend, tells you about this amazing opportunity, an investment. And it sounds almost, well, almost too good to be true, but that hope, that chance for relief, it feels so close you can almost taste it. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into a story, a cautionary tale from our source, The Phantom Investment, a student's downfall. And our goal here isn't just to tell the story. We want to really pull apart how these financial scams work in real life. It's not just about the money lost, which is bad enough, but also the real human cost involved. We want to find those crucial lessons, those red flags, to help you, listening right now, navigate all the promises and pitfalls out there. It's more than a story. It's about being financially aware. Okay, so let's start with Carol. She's a second-year university student, and her life sounds incredibly stressful. Think about it. Juggling difficult assignments, working a part-time job just to make ends meet, and all the while, these student loans are just piling up. The source material says each month her finances felt tighter and the future seemed heavier. You can almost feel that weight, can't you? That constant strain. She wasn't just short on cash, she sounded completely worn out, looking for any kind of escape.
Yeah, and that situation, her specific situation, young, lots of debt, feeling overwhelmed, it really creates this perfect storm of vulnerability. When someone feels that buried, that desperate for a way out, maybe just some relief, well, their guard naturally drops. The sheer psychological weight of debt can make you less skeptical, more open to things that promise a quick fix, even if rationally they seem a bit unrealistic. It's not weakness. It's just being human under immense pressure.
Exactly. And right into that stress came Ghazala Din, not through some random ad, but through family. A relative Carol trusted. This wasn't just some acquaintance. This relative painted Ghazala as this, successful investor, someone who was helping people they knew grow their money.
Ah, the family connection.
Right. And here's the kicker. The relative mentioned that several family members had already invested and were getting regular returns. So it wasn't just a recommendation, it felt like proof, coming from inside her own trusted circle.
hmm That's textbook affinity fraud. Scammers love targeting groups where trust is already established, could be religious groups, communities, or like here, family networks. Because when the tip comes from someone you know and trust, someone you think has your back, well, all that natural skepticism just evaporates.
Yeah, it just goes away.
It creates this powerful sense of credibility. You think, well, if Aunt Sue invested and she's getting paid, it must be okay. That initial thumbs up, especially from family, kind of numbs your critical thinking, makes the whole thing seem legitimate, maybe even like something you should do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to doubt it then.
So Carol, feeling hopeful again, sets up a meeting with Ghazala Din. And the pitch she got, it was incredibly appealing, simple but powerful. Ghazala basically said, invest 3,000 pounds with me, and I'll give you 300 pounds back every single month for a year.
Wow. Every month.
Yeah, and wait, there's more. At the end of that year, a 10,000 pound lump sum payout. Just like that. For Carol, hearing this, it must have sounded like the answer to everything. The source calls it her lifeline. Suddenly, she could see a way to pay down debt, cover rent, and breathe a little easier. The future looked bright again, focused on studies, not debt.
Right. But let's unpack that offer for a second, because this is where you see the scam mechanics really clearly. 300 pounds a month on a 3,000 pound investment. That's a 10% return every single
month. 10% a month.
Per month. Then add the 10,000 pound lump sum at the end. You're looking at an annual return of well over 120%. 120%. Guaranteed.
That just sounds impossible.
It is. Think about legitimate investments, even really good ones like stocks, might aim for high single digits, maybe low double digits per year. And that's never guaranteed. There's always risk.
Yeah.
So Ghazala's offer, high returns, fixed returns, guaranteed returns. That's not just a red flag. It's a blaring siren. Real investments just don't work that way. And her confidence, as the source mentions, that's part of the act. Projecting total certainty to make you ignore the math, to stop you from asking hard questions. It's pure persuasion.
So Carol, caught up in that hope, transferred the 3,000 pounds. Her savings, probably hard-earned money. And for the first few weeks, she must have been just waiting, checking her account, imagining that first 300 pounds hitting, ready to start tackling that debt. But the first month went by, nothing. Then the second month, and that's when, as the source says, it became clear something was wrong. The 300 pounds never showed up. Messages to Ghazala, ignored. Calls, straight to voicemail. Eventually, the number just stopped working. That hope just evaporated, replaced by this awful sinking feeling.
It's a very typical pattern for Ponzi schemes or pyramid schemes. They rely on new money coming in to pay off earlier investors. So it suggests that her relatives were getting paid initially, those regular returns, and that's crucial for the scam.
Right, makes it look real.
Exactly. Those early payments build trust, they get people talking, pulling in more victims, but it's totally unsustainable. You need more and more new money all the time. Eventually, either you run out of new people or the scammer just takes the money and runs.
Which is what happened here.
Seems like it. For Carol, the horrible outcome was clear. Ghazala had vanished, taking Carol's money and her relatives' money with her. That promise of easy money just dissolved, leaving nothing but loss.
And this loss, for Carol, it went so much deeper than just the £3,000. It became incredibly personal, really devastating. The source is very clear. The loss hit harder than just financially. Her mental health just plummeted. She stopped going to lectures. Her grades started slipping. She even started avoiding her friends because she felt so ashamed, so humiliated.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, she lost all motivation for her studies. That initial excitement about learning just got replaced by this heavy despair. It wasn't just her bank account that took a hit. It was her whole life, her education, friendships, her self-worth.
And that highlights such a critical point about financial scams. The psychological damage is often immense and frequently overlooked. It's not just losing money. It's the complete shattering of trust. Trust in the scammer, sure, but also trust in the people who introduced you, like her family. And maybe worst of all, trust in your own judgment.
Yeah, blaming yourself.
Exactly. That hope she had, that desperate need for relief, it gets twisted into despair, shame, feeling like a fool. It shows how these things ripple outwards, far beyond just the financial hit. And the shame can be paralyzing. It stops people from talking about it, from seeking help. They just feel isolated. It's cruel how the promise of freedom leads to this kind of trap. So it really makes you ask, what is it that makes these scams so destructive on that human level? It's got to be that erosion of hope and trust.
So Carol's story, it's tough to hear, really painful. But it's such a clear lesson, isn't it? What can we take away from this? What can you, listening, learn from her experience to, protect yourself from similar situations? What's the main point?
Well, looking at the bigger picture, there are a few really crucial lessons here for you. First, always use critical thinking. Always. Even if an opportunity comes from someone you trust implicitly, like family.
Even then.
Especially then, maybe. That social proof feels powerful, but it's not proof of legitimacy. Unverified trust can actually be a risk factor. Second, get really good at spotting things that sound too good to be true, because they usually are. If someone's promising huge returns, guaranteed returns, easy money with no effort, your internal alarm bell should be ringing loud and clear.
Right.
Legitimate investing involves risk, period. Nobody can guarantee massive returns without risk. Be suspicious of anyone who says otherwise. And third, even if family or friends are involved, even if they say they're getting paid, that doesn't mean it's safe. They could be victims too, just earlier in the cycle. You might be unknowingly helping the scammer find new targets. That's how affinity fraud works. It turns relationships into weapons.
So you need to dig deeper yourself.
Absolutely. Be skeptical. Ask the tough questions. Demand transparency. Get advice from an independent, qualified financial advisor who has no stake in it. These aren't just suggestions, they're vital safeguards. And watch out for pressure tactics. If they rush you, want weird payment methods, tell you not to talk to anyone else, huge red flags. Walk away.
This has been quite the deep dive. Carol's experience is such a stark warning. It shows how vulnerability, mixed with really clever persuasion and using trust against people, well, the fallout is massive, much bigger than just the money. It's about lost hope, broken trust, and the deep hidden scars it leaves on someone's life.
It really is. So thinking about this, in a world where financial stress is common and bad information travels just as fast as good information, how do you build up that resilience? How do you protect yourself, protect your loved ones from these schemes that feed on hope? What part of Carol's story really sticks with you? And how might that change how you look at financial opportunities from now on?